Welcome back to the What's Your More podcast. I'm your host, Quinton Harris. You're dialed in for episode 218 on this Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I hope all of our listeners are set to have a wonderful Thanksgiving with their friends and family and enjoy that time together. But until then, let's enjoy this episode together as we talk about why are first-time home buyers being more and more scared and moving their age from 33 to 38 to become a first-time home buyer. That and more on this episode at What's Your One More. All right, so welcome back. Is it an ideology that first-time homebuyers are scared? Let's talk about this because new statistics have revealed that the first-time homebuyer's age has jumped significantly from 33 years old to 38. For the longest of time, we lived in this 31 to 33-year-old first-time homebuyer age group. Now it's 38. What's the reasoning behind that? Some may argue it's the word mortgage. And what do I mean by that? Well, it's this, the phonetic root of the word mortgage. I thought this was interesting. Props to my producer for coming up with this before we did the show here. But, mortgage is a word that dates back to the 14th century. And with the root of the word is mort, meaning death in French, and gage, meaning pledge. And so, it literally makes a mortgage a death pledge. Is that the reason that first-time home buyers are scared? I think not. I find that more humorous than anything. But, phonetically, the word itself is a death pledge. And maybe that's how some consumers feel when they go to buy a home because the process is so stringent. First, you've always heard, buyer's remorse. Maybe that's where it comes from. But what I want to talk about is I think it's the confusion in the industry. I think it's the interest rates, and I think it's the price of the homes, and I think it's the pressure from the media telling people you don't need to buy, you need to rent, and that rent's cheaper. And I think that is where a lot of this is leading to. I'm going to pull up a graph here. It's in our YouTube channel at What's Your One More. I want to show you something. This is a huge staggering statistic. This is eye-popping. If you're a real estate agent, this is your graph to combat a person that goes, nah, I'm just going to rent. If you're a mortgage lender and you're dealing with someone that goes, it's cheaper for me, I'm just going to rent. This is your graph. It's worth $1 million. When they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, this one's worth 1,000,000 words. And here's why. Our friends over at MBS Highway, Barry and Dan, you guys crushed it with this one. Mad props to you guys. But let's take a look at this. Since 2019, on this first side of this graph, you're going to see that the net worth, now when we talk about net worth, we're talking about assets and liabilities, the difference between the two, right? The complete assets versus the complete liabilities. The average homeowner in 2019 had 40 times the net worth of that of a renter. Let that set in for a minute. 40 times, not 4 times, 40 times. In 2019, the average renter had a net worth of $7,300. compared to that of a homeowner of $295,500, 40 times greater. Let's fast forward to 2024. It's 42 times greater. 42 times greater. The average net worth of a renter is $10,000, and the average homeowner's net worth is $415,000. Just let that set in for a minute. When I see that, when I hear that, I'm like, renting is cheaper. Are you kidding me? The net worth of a person continues to rise when they own a home. And you can't argue with this. This is straight from the Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finance. This shows you everything you need to see in here when you are combating someone that's like, I think I'm just going to rent cheaper. Well, it really isn't. We did a whole episode on comparing rents to mortgage payments and debunking what the USA Today article said on there. And Lord knows I'm hearing it on other outlets right now. It's not true. It's absolutely not true because I think what happens is the consumer gets caught up in the payment. The buyer gets caught up in, my payment's $1,800, but it's $2,100, or it's $2,800 rent, and then it's $3,100 over here, or $3,500. Okay, your assets though are not growing, so you're literally throwing that rent away compared to making the payment over here. The other argument could be, well, I can't afford $3,500. Well, why did you have to pick a home that's $3,500? Could you not pick a home that's $2,800? And I think we did a whole episode on that too, is that buyers have to be realistic in this market that your first time you buy a home, it's not going to be your dream home. There's a high probability in this market. Now that could be argued 10 years ago, you had an opportunity to do that. In this market, with the prices that we have and the shortage of inventory and the backfill of demand, that's not going to happen. You're not going to get there. Now, there could be the people that won the lottery or hit it big. And, if you're in Bitcoin right now, you're probably saying, I'll go buy my dream home right now. But the reality is, it's for the average consumer as a first-time home buyer, you're not buying your dream home out the gate. You're buying your first home that you own. So there should be some sacrifices, but there's a reward. The growth in your net worth and the growth in the equity is the reward there. So the other thing I want to take a look at is this. I continue to, I got to sound like a broken record to our audience on this argument, why home prices are not going to go down. They continue to go up. But I want to show this birth rate per year. This is another graph from our friends at MBS Highway. It'll be on our YouTube channel at What's Your One More. But when I look at this, you look at the birth rates, and you're going to see the birth rate on the left-hand side of the axis over here, showing how many births we had that year. And then on the bottom, on the Y part, you're going to see the years that represent the dotted points on here, and then the yellow line is the trend line. But, I mean, you look at the years on here, and there's a consistent growth rate from 1986 all the way to 1990. I mean, it's a run-up. It goes from just shy of about 3.75 million to 4.2 million. It's consistently all the way up. Well, the first-time home buyer at this new age of 38 years old, well, that would have been a birth year of 1987. If you go to this chart, and we highlight it right here with an arrow on it, 1987 all the way up to 1990, you go from 3.85 million to 4.2 million. Now, why is that important? Quinton, why are we talking about birth rates? Well, simply because these are new first-time home buyers that are coming to the market. And so if in 1987's birth rate is 38 years old, and we established that's the new home buyer, so 3.82 million prospective buyers are coming to the table this year to buy a home. And then the following year, that group becomes 38, and that's 3.9 million. So you put those two together, in 2 years, you're at roughly 7 points. I'm doing rough math, 7.62, 7.72, 7.72. Then the next year is 4.1 million. So you add another 4.1. In 3 years, you have over 11 million new home buyers. Let that set in for a minute. You have 11 million new home buyers coming to the market. The only way to subside that demand is to provide more inventory, more product. We don't have that. We don't have it right now. 3 episodes ago, I just showed the inventory shortage around the country from different outlets of Bloomberg, CBS, and NBC News. So we're saying a range between 4 to 7 million undersupplied of new builds to rent or buy. There's 11 million in 3 years right there. We're already 4 to 7 short. Yeah, that's a problem. And the reason that's a problem is because those individuals are going to be fighting for the same homes. And during that time, that next 3 years where 11 million new people are coming to the market, what else is going to happen during that time? Rates are going to come down. So as rates continue to come down, the product becomes more affordable and more attractive. What is that going to do? Increase demand. What is that going to do? That is going to apply price pressure to the homes. I sound like a broken record. I know it. This is all I talk about all the time. But sometimes you have to beat a dead horse to get the point across because there's some people that just don't understand or don't want to believe it. But again, this is facts over fear. This is not an opinion. This is facts over fear. And as that demand continues to increase, I mean, think about this. Why would homes continue to go up in price over the course of the last 24 months? And I'm not talking month over month. I'm talking year over year, right? Because seasonality plays a trend on the month over month. Like if you try to say, oh, it didn't go up and it went down in January, January to December, yeah, okay. But if we look year over year, they went up, right? You're measuring seasonality there because the peak's going to be March all the way through June, and it's going to come down. But year over year, it's going up. Why would it be going up in a market where rates have been at the heights that we've seen over the last 30 years? That should not happen. Inventory should not be increasing. It's still not enough, but it shouldn't be increasing. It shouldn't be having longer days on market. And then you shouldn't have more new homes to market each year, and yet the price continues to go up. That's not how that equation works, unless you don't have enough inventory to suffice the demand and the appetite. And I think that that's a critical component of what's going on. And we're showing additional demand coming on, 11 million in 3 years. And by the time you add that fourth year in there, because here's the real whammy, in 1990, 4.2 million come on. Now you're over 15 million in 4 years. 15 million new homeowners coming to the market going, man, I'm ready to buy. I'm 38. I've saved up. I'm ready to go. I'm a first-time home buyer. We're not talking 31-year-olds that have only been in the workforce for, you could argue, maybe 10 years, right? We're talking about people that have been in the workforce for 15, 18 years. They've got savings set up. They're ready to come in there. They're ready to buy that home. They've been living at home with mom and dad, or they've been saving in a reduced lifestyle. They're coming to the market, and they're going to qualify for these first-time homebuyer programs, and the money's going to be there. The opportunity is going to be there. They are going to be competitive in this market. If some of the stuff we're talking about on the podcast interests you, and you're like, hey, Q, I want to be a homeowner. I want to buy an investment property. I want strategies on how I can take advantage of the market. I have a solution for you. And that solution is Loan People, to where it's all about the people getting the loan and the people doing the loan. You guys know me by now. I've been doing this podcast for years, but I've been in the mortgage business for 23. And it's very rare you can find a company that has a mantra for loan officers, by loan officers. And what does that mean? That means you have a company that's designed to help provide the best atmosphere for loan officers possibly imagined. And not only that, the most efficient operations for those loan officers to be successful, which provides a better customer service. And that's what you get at Loan People. So much so that they put that in the company name. And at the heart of this is the people. It's in-house processing, it's underwriting, it's closing and funding. And why choose them? They got great rates. They close on time and they have award-winning service. So check them out at loanpeoplejax.com. That's loanpeoplejax.com. If you're a person that's talking to a real estate agent, you go, I'm just going to rent. Know what you're up against. Most rents are a 6-month to 1-year lease. So every year you wait, an additional 3 to 4 million people become your competitors. If you're working with a mortgage lender and you don't like the rate right now, you're like, rate's not good. Okay, you're going to rent. That's 6 to 12 months you're locked into an agreement. Minimum. Every year, almost 4 million people are going to come to market that you're going to have to compete against on that home price. And what's going to happen with that asset? Well, it's going to continue to go up in price. It may only go up 2%. It may go up 3%. It may go up 5%. Hell, who knows? It may go up 10%. But it's going to go up. It's not going down. It's not being reduced in price. In the meantime, that homeowner, their net worth's going up. You, the renter, not going up near as much. 42 times, it's not going up as much. Why wait? Why continue to fight a trend that is right here with all the facts stockpiling up that, listen, now is the time to buy? You may not agree. You may not like the price points, but you're really not going to like them the next year. And you're really not going to like competing against 3 to 4 million new buyers coming to the market. And by the way, that doesn't even include the current pool of buyers that are out there that have been going through the cycle that you're just now entering, and they're ready to find a home and they're over it. I would argue the transactions that are happening right now, the bulk of them are homeowners that have gone, you know what? I'm over it. I want to be a homeowner. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to settle into these rates and I'm going to move on. They've already witnessed it. They've seen it. Those are the same people in 2022 that go, that price is too high. Well, then what happened in 23? That price went up. And then the people in 23 are like, that price is too high. We got banks collapsed. I'm not doing that. What happened? 2024, price went up. It's going to do it again in 25 and 26 and 27. This cycle is going to continue until that appetite of the demand is sufficed. And that's probably a 5-year curve at this point because we don't see a retreat until after 1990. Birth rate. Something to consider here. And I encourage you to take advantage of the current market. No matter what the situation is, find a way to make it work so you can increase your net worth as a first-time home buyer versus being stuck in the rut that you're currently in. So guys, as we wrap up the show, I want to tell you guys, thanks for tuning in. More importantly, I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends and family. And if you're like me, you get around family, and we all have someone in the family that's kind of the interesting person that always asks you how things are going, what's business like, what's life like, just for them to influence and tell you what they think it should be like and what your business looks like. And if you get a chance, share with them some of this information. They may be telling you how terrible the mortgage market is, how terrible the real estate market is, and why foreclosures are coming. Make sure you share facts over fears this holiday season as you spend time with loved ones. And guys, thanks for tuning into this episode. Look forward to seeing you at the next one at What's Your One More.
Got one more shot, I'm gonna make it. One more chance, I'm gonna take it. I meant it when I said it, now it's time for me to do it. I got one life to live, so I put